earlier, Russia confirmed that it had completed its withdrawal. For more, let's speak to our senior reporter, Catherine Norris-Trent. Hello to you, Catherine. You've been to Ukraine a number of times reporting on the war for France 24. What information do we have right now?
So this information is very fresh, what is taking place in Kherson right now. So we're working very hard to double check everything. I'm currently getting messages through from a source in Ukraine from a member of Kherson City Council who's in exile, been living in Ukrainian-controlled territory in the city of Zaporizhia. And she's telling me, and this message I'm just going to quote, there is no light, no water, no gas, no heat. But everyone in Kherson who remains there is happy. And she's sending me photos of people out on the streets of Kherson raising the Ukrainian flag above what looks like the Kherson municipality building in the city centre. Pictures of cars driving through the streets blaring their horns, and she's telling me that people there who've been holed up inside amid very heavy fighting throughout the Russian occupation are coming out of their homes and are standing in the city centre to celebrate, awaiting the arrival of Ukrainian troops who have been making their way forward throughout territory which the Russian troops appear now to have left into the city centre, and they're greeting those troops. So just, a health warning, this is very fresh information. There's a lot of information circulating, which is very new on social networks, on Twitter, on Telegram, which a lot of Ukrainians use. But I'm getting from multiple sources now these pictures sent of people, both military and civilians on the ground, telling us that the Ukrainian flag is being raised in Kherson, that it appears the Russian troops have left, although there are warnings of caution. People are saying, there could still be units here or there, or people dressed up as civilians. There's a lot of caution. There had been a lot of skepticism, but now these pictures and these reports coming through today.
And for the Ukrainians living in Kherson City, a lot of emotion, as you were alluding to. This is also very significant in the war.
Absolutely, because Kherson City was the only regional capital that Russia had managed to capture and occupy since the beginning of this war on February the 24th. It was actually captured early on in the first weeks of the war in March. And it was a major blow, that big city down there in southern Ukraine, a crucially strategic point as well, because it's obviously north of Crimea, which Russia occupied, annexed illegally in 2014. And it's just on the banks of the Dnieper River, this major waterway that flows down through Ukraine, and quite near the North Crimean Canal, from which Crimea gets its supplies of fresh water. And it's part of this southern stretch of Ukraine that Russia had occupied, providing this land bridge between the occupied Donbass and Crimea. So this is very important, and it's a major setback for Vladimir Putin and the Russian army. No matter how they try and dress this up, that they've had to pull back onto the other side of the Dnieper River from across the city of Kherson, which stands on the right bank. They've pulled across, it seems, onto the left bank in a major and humiliating loss. I would argue perhaps the biggest and most humiliating loss since they had to withdraw from the Kyiv region back in the spring.
And we're running out of time, but what does this mean moving forward?
It could mean, as things become clearer, different things. It depends on whether this has been an orderly pullout, whether Russia has been able to conserve its heavy weapons, its artillery, its tanks, as it was not able to do when it was forced out of the Kharkiv region very rapidly. So it remains to be seen just how chaotic this withdrawal, as it appears to be, was, and whether they can redeploy efficiently elsewhere in the south, or whether this is going to badly impact not only material supplies, but Russian troops' morale on the ground.
All right, Catherine, thank you very much. Catherine Norris-Trent, France 24's senior reporter.